So next up on our agenda is our presentation by our one and only gold sponsor. So thank you to Andy Henson and Volvo Trucks.
So good morning. Thanks for the introduction. My name is Andy Hansen. I'm responsible for work truck sales at Volvo in North America. And in the room today, we also have Bruce Mockery, who handles the Western United States in terms of work truck sales for us. And we also have a dealer partner with us, and that being Tech Equipment with us. So we thank you guys for participating as well, and we'll have a brief comment from Tech after we're done here about the whole entire dealer network of Volvo. So there'll be some interesting comments there too. So this is my third time speaking to this organization. I started in Anchorage, and I was with you in San Diego 2 years ago. In San Diego, we talked a lot about autonomous vehicles, and so I'll have some tie-on to that in this presentation. But we'll talk a lot about electric mobility, about where Volvo's going with electric vehicles in a product we call Vera. And then I'll talk about remote programming, which is something we brought into the marketplace last year with the help of ODOT as a pilot. And then we'll talk about Volvo Analytics. In this morning's session, you were talking about the AVLs, and we can actually pipe a lot of data to you from our vehicles so you can better understand how that vehicle is operating in a day-to-day operation. And then finally, no presentation by a Volvo employee is complete without touching on safety. Volvo has 3 core values. It's quality, safety, and environmental care. So we'll finish up the Volvo section of the presentation talking about safety. So with that, Volvo believes in driving progress, and we're moving heavily into electric mobility. It is a big hot button topic. You know, we talk about Tesla cars and all this in the marketplace, but we're also there, and we've been there for a while. Why electrification? I just mentioned that one of Volvo's 3 core values is environmental care, and that's been that way since 1974. So we're not a Johnny-come-lately to this party. So we're a firm believer in it. We've got many different types of equipment electrified today. We have mining trucks that are electrified. We have buses operating in Edinburgh and in Sweden that have been electrified. Our sister brand this spring handed over the keys to an electric garbage truck to the city of New York. And we actually launched the FE product, which is a cab-over product in Europe in 2018 in electric format. So as we move into electrification here in the United States underneath the Volvo brand, it'll be an easy transition for us. And that was that slide. So what are we going to electrify here in the United States? We're electrifying our VNR product. So it's a conventional cab. It'll have a range of about 125 miles depending on its application, of course. And it'll have 2 charging methods, one a fast charge in a DC, direct current format, and then of course an AC trickle charge overnight for about 10 hours to be a full charge. And so as I'm going through this presentation, these are just some touch points. You know, what does, 150 kilowatt hour battery capacity really mean? That means about 62 miles in a long haul operation. And then in a urban delivery operation, you can get about 62 miles in 110 kilowatt hours. Our max battery capacity on these electric trucks will be about 380 to begin with. And you can also get a 300 kilowatt battery pack as well. And of course, like with any vehicle, you don't drive it to empty. So you got to do a factor of about 80% of that power. The configurations of the VNR that we'll release into the marketplace are a 4x2 truck, a 6x2 truck, and a 6x2 tractor. The 6x2 tractor will have a tandem on the end, but we'll be utilizing our liftable axle technology to reduce friction, to increase the vehicle's efficiency. And we'll go all the way up to a gross combined weight rating of 80,000 pounds. The motors, the design we'll have here in North America will have 2 electric motors on it. One will be low end, and then the second one will kick in as the vehicle builds up speed. Those motors will go into a 2-speed gearbox, which is it's a manual transmission. It's like similar to our I-Shift. And then it'll be, of course, driven by a shaft. So we will not have wheel end motors here, but it'll be a typical configuration of a truck that we have today with the motor and a drive shaft and axles. And then the battery packs, like I said before, we'll have two types of configurations of batteries, a 6-pack or a 4-pack. And the 6-pack is equivalent to about 150 gallons. So as we were talking about kilowatt hours versus mileage and stuff, another way to look at it is DGE, diesel gallons equivalent, and that's about 150 gallons worth of capacity on board. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the charging scenarios, the AC versus DC. The next two slides will have like a chassis layout. This is our FE product that we have in Europe today, and the VNR will be very, very similar to this with saddle-mounted battery boxes. Here's our 4-pack, and then there's our 6-pack. Now, like I mentioned earlier when I was talking to you all in San Diego, we did a deep dive into autonomous vehicles because that was, big interest to everyone at the time. And it still is, and we're progressing very rapidly into that area of autonomous vehicles. And the next few slides, I'm always excited about taking a look at them. Oh, and that, I'll go back to that. And this is Vera. This is our fully autonomous electrified tractor. And as we all look at it, you're like, yeah, that looks like a CGI graphic, right? You know, some artist at a computer designed that. But here's a colleague of mine walking alongside of it. And in this picture, here it is in operation in a port in Sweden. So we are making great strides in it, and it's really shocking to see a truck, and it's an autonomous truck, and it doesn't even have a cab. And so we see autonomous working very well in controlled environments, and that's what we spoke to the last time in San Diego, that the amount of infrastructure that's required to make this operate safely requires controlled environments. So, such as the Port of Los Angeles would be a prime customer of something like this. But so we are moving forward, and it's just really neat to see where it's progressed in a couple of years to be able to show you this picture of a fully autonomous cabless vehicle. But if I can rewind, because I'm not watching my slides correctly, but our electric truck project is called Volvo Lights, and it's a partnership with state agencies. California is deeply involved in it, as well as our suppliers and our end customers. In 2019, we're going to be delivering 5 trucks to the LA Basin. 2 of those trucks will be used by NFI, which will haul from the port to their shipping cross docks. Another 2 trucks will be handled by a company called Dependable, or here DHE, and that will be like in a city urban delivery application. And then the 5th and final truck will be owned and operated by our dealer here in the room, Tech. And that'll be, I believe it's a parts delivery vehicle, Chris. So we're excited about delivering those 5 trucks this year into a commercial operation. Like I said, we're very well skilled at this. These vehicles will be built in our facility in Dublin, Virginia. It's Volvo's largest plant in Dublin, Virginia, so we're grateful to be able to put a new product into that factory. In the last 3 years, Volvo invested $69 million into that plant, and in the next 3 years, we're going to invest another $300 million into that factory. So we're here to stay, and we're here to grow. And then in 2020, we'll increase production, and we'll also roll out a lot of the necessary infrastructure, which is basically the charging stations for the products. Is there a question? I actually have slides on all that. I didn't want to bury you guys, and I can show you the actual connectors for the high speed and the slow speed. So if we can, do an aside this afternoon, and I can show you what they are. I can also comment on that. I mean, in the notes here, it's got the power and the requirements and all that. But that's the flashy stuff of the presentation, that being Vera. And then we're going to talk a little bit about remote diagnostics and remote programming. So in 2010, we rolled out remote diagnostics into the Volvo network. We're monitoring about 30 codes off the emission system, the transmission, and the engine. And last year, we went from listening to the truck to actually talking to the truck and programming the truck. So remote diagnostics, like I said, about 30 codes. We monitor them, We have a fleet profile of yours in our system in a facility here in the bottom left-hand corner of the presentation. That's our uptime center. It's staffed 24/7, 365. A code pops up on a vehicle that you own. We contact the fleet manager on file. We coordinate the repair with the local dealer, checking his inventory to make sure that the part is on the shelf. Or we call you and say, your driver's gonna see a note he's gonna have a warning on his dash. Let him know it's okay to continue on his route or on his shift. He doesn't need to down the truck. It's just, it needs to be addressed at the next service interval or the next time it gets into the shop. So we're able to real-time diagnose and triage your equipment in operation with remote diagnostic, and it's been a great success for us.
That be standard across all product lines?
Yeah, it's standard. It's standard, and the services are standard as long as the vehicle's in its warranty period. And after that, it's a service charge of, a few $100s a year to maintain that connectivity. Yeah, so all Volvo trucks since 2010 came live with that product. So in 2018, we went live with remote programming. And so, like I said, instead of listening to the trucks, we're listening and talking to the trucks. And we piloted this with ODOT, so you can talk to your peers about whether or not it was a success. We believe it is. And what we do is it's a similar concept to your smartphone, right? So every so often you get hassled with a note that says new software is available, and you can either update it now or wait. You can push it off, and you'd never consider taking your iPhone back to the iStore to have that done. Life moves too fast. So we use this statistic. To program a truck today, it takes 2.3 days for a fleet to down the truck, take it to the dealership, find time to have the tech put the computer to it, and then get back into operation. And the American Trucking Association says that a typical Class 8 truck today requires 2 ECM updates a year to maintain its optimum efficiency. So quickly put those two numbers together, and you realize that every Class 8 truck you have is down for 1 week a year. And this is across all brands. This is the American Trucking Association saying this. So with remote programming, we're able to take that week and give it back to the owner, so you have more uptime. The way the system works is we're monitoring the truck. We know what model truck you have, obviously what software pack you have on it. We realize that one's ready for an update. We again contact the fleet manager and ask him if we can go ahead with downloading the software. Where's the truck? What conditions it in? Once that's all been set, we get a hold of either the driver or the fleet manager, depending on where it is. I mean, if you're an over-the-road guy, you can do this at your lunch break, or let's say at the end of the shift, the fleet manager can update 5 trucks at a time. We communicate with you. We push it down into the truck. We confirm after it's done that it's been complete and the truck's ready to go. The total process time of actually downloading it and updating the truck takes anywhere between 15 minutes and 30 minutes at very most. So it's a very short time, and it's when compared to 2.3 days at a shop. How does it look to the operator? We have a DID, the driver information display in the center console will show this. It's ready for an update. The operator clicks OK. The update's processing, and then it's done. And this is done over a cellular signal. So you have to be within cell range, and I understand I overheard Idaho talking about a certain percentage of their territory doesn't have cell coverage, but that's why we pilot it with ODOT, because they would have sparse service too. But so neat technology coming into the marketplace and available today.
The truck is mobile while this is happening?
No, it's parked.
It's still parked, okay.
Yeah, like I said, like a coffee break, 15-minute coffee break, or hour-long lunch break, this could be done. And in this way, we're giving you the latest technology. Your products are operating at a more efficient, set of parameters, right? So along with remote programming, it's not just we're doing software patches or updates. You can also change the parameters. So let's say you wanted to change the road speed of the vehicle or something like that. You call us and say, hey, we want to update this, and then we put that in the next software pack we download. We're listening and we're talking to the trucks now, and I thought it was interesting in this morning's session about you know, what kind of information are we pulling off the trucks to know how, are we spraying too much salt, or that's not really my area of expertise, but, you know, how do we make sure our operators are operating more efficiently? And we can offer a solution to that on the truck side as well, and we call it Volvo Analytics. And so we're taking massive amounts of data off the truck, every one of our trucks, and we're housing it, and we don't know what to do with all of it, right? It's just, there's so much that we've got, we don't even know how to process it. But we've taken some key elements that we feel, and we put it into a ClickSense software offering. And so we have nice user formats for you here that the Volvo employees can offer to you in a discussion, or we can actually pipe you the raw data if you have a business intelligence person on staff that is skilled at processing this information, and you can tell us what you're looking for, and we can provide that information to you. In this scenario that I have up on the screen, this is a company that has 131 trucks of ours. We know that their miles per gallon on average across the whole entire fleet is 5.35 gallons, and they idle about 25% of the time. So with that type of information, we can either do some coaching on idling a vehicle and the cost of the fleet. You can do a bunch of things, but you can also say, hey, you know, there's different applications. Like we have plow trucks, we have chip trucks, we have tractors in our fleets. What do we can splice that down into model year and configuration as well. And I know it's a little bit of an eye chart here for you, but here this says it's a VHD8, which is an 8x4 configuration for us, so it's got one liftable axle. This is a VHD 6x4, and then they've got a VNL 6x4 and a VNR 6x4s. And then it's color-coded by the model year of the vehicle. And you can go click on, I only want to look at the VHD 6x4s because I know those are my dump trucks. I got 22 of them and they're all 2019s. So you can quickly funnel down into a particular model year or a particular truck to see how it's behaving. There's other ways to analyze the data. I can go through about 5 slides here, I think, of different scenarios that we can offer you through this ClickSense software, but there's, like I said, let us know how you want to look at the data. This one shows fault codes. So this is Volvo's dirty laundry, right? So how many fault codes are popping? You know, we started taking this data off the truck, and we realized every time we crested the mountain here in Colorado, we were throwing fault codes. And we knew exactly where they were popping at the top of the I-70 here, and we knew that they were always popping there, so we were able to drill down to the problem with the truck and fix the trucks very rapidly by figuring out geographically where it's happening and to what model year of trucks it's happening. And you have that information now too. So we can see here that, and I can't tell you exactly what's going on this slide, but you can click on the different bars and they can tell you exactly what the fault code is, where it's operating, what model year trucks, and then over here, this customer operates in 44 states, so you can quickly see, okay, it's my Ohio fleet that's got 1,700 faults, and then you can figure out what faults are popping in Ohio to better drill down into any problems you may have in your fleet. This software also shows you the software pack that you have on board, what model it is, right? So are you operating in the best programs that we have to offer today? And in this case, we know that 94% of the fleet needs software updates. And so when we presented this to this customer a few months ago, I said, hey, you know, you guys aren't operating the best that we have, and we need to get these trucks in and get them updated. And you can also look at a scatter graph, and this one is a scatter graph of fuel economy, and you can quickly find outliers, and it's drilled down into, like I said, models or model years, and so you can quickly see, you know, which ones are the best drivers. Maybe they can teach the rest how they're achieving the great fuel economy, or you can coach the ones that are lagging behind very quickly. And then finally, we can do it geographically. Like I said, this customer operates in 44 states, and we can use our mouse and circle around the state of Florida and drill down into the fleet in Florida, and then all the pages that you just saw earlier are just looking at the fleet in Florida. So it's a very intuitive and very quickly usable software to be able to get exactly what you need out of it. So that's Volvo Analytics. And then, like I said, no presentation by a Volvo employee is complete without talking about safety. I was pleased to see that WSHEMA is celebrating 50 years. Congratulations. Volvo is also celebrating an anniversary this year, and that's 60 years of the seatbelt invention. And this gentleman here is Niles Boland, and 60 years ago this year, he invented the three-point harness. And after a year of having that underneath a patent, Volvo released that to the whole entire automotive industry. So remember, it only takes 2 seconds to buckle up, and that's a Volvo invention. So with that, Volvo is still committed to safety and always will be. And I'm going to talk a little bit about passive safety design, active safety design, and then preemptive safety systems that Volvo has today. We build an enormously strong cab. I think it's like 17 different types of specialty steel. It's all galvanized steel, sourced well above 70% out of U.S. mills. And if you guys aren't used to converting kg, let me do it for you. It's 33,000 pounds of crush on the roof and 2,200 pounds of a pendulum swing to the A pillar and the B pillar. And what happens after that, the door's still open on that truck. And that's the simulator rollover, and we call it the Swedish cab crush test. And it's not a Volvo test, it's the Swedish government's crush test. So all of our cabs in the United States are designed to that type of criteria. It truly is remarkable, strong cab. We also barrier impact all of our vehicles. In this scenario, obviously it's a pretty big hit. I will point out that the airbag has been deployed. All Volvo trucks come standard with a driver's side airbag. Our steering wheels are made out of collapsible material, as well as our dash is collapsible to save the driver's knees. And also our engines are built low into the chassis itself. So in this case, the engine and transmission go underneath the cab to save the driver. These accidents do happen, and we're doing our best to make sure when they do happen that it doesn't negatively impact the operator. Those are kind of the passive and reactive safety measures that Volvo has at a high level. But we also have what we call VEDA, the Volvo Active Driver Assist. And we're releasing a new version of that. And the reason why I bring that up today to this group is I probably won't have a chance to talk to you again for another 2 years. And we're releasing it next year, and it's going to be available in our work trucks. So we're excited about that. Currently on our VN and VNL products, we offer VEDA as standard. But next year, like I said, we'll offer VEDA 2.0. And it's just getting smarter, right? So it's got active braking from 50 on down. That'll help you stop the vehicle if you're not going to do it. It's got multi-lane continuous braking. So in a swerving scenario, you're approaching a vehicle and you have so many inputs that all you can do is turn the wheel and you don't brake, but the vehicle will brake for you. And then you pick up another car in the lane to your left, and it's also going to be a concern of the vehicle, so the truck continues to brake. It won't release and start to roll as you brake away from the first vehicle. It will monitor more objects on the road. Highway departure and braking, if the driver falls asleep at the wheel or isn't paying attention and it breaks the line, it will arrest its movement now, which is an addition to it. Before you could cross the line, the vehicle wouldn't slow, and now the vehicle will slow down for the operator. And then cruise resume, and that's simply at 10 miles or above, if you're in heavy traffic, the vehicle will match the speed of the car or the vehicle in front of it, and so the driver doesn't have to constantly hit the brakes or the gas, or I should say the throttle, back and forth. The vehicle will do that for them. Why is this stuff important? Well, our friends at NHTSA say that if you have one of these systems on board, that the likelihood of a front-end collision is reduced by 82%. And those are similar numbers to the what we call VEST, where we break all the wheel ends independently to prevent rollovers. When you implement these products into your fleet, the likelihood of a rollover or front-end collision is greatly reduced. And then one more thing, this vehicle will have heads-up display. So not only is it going to be warning, the vehicle will be reacting, there will also be a light in the windscreen for the driver to react to. And it will be adjusted via whether it's light, if it's daylight, it will be brighter, and if it's at night, the light will be a little bit less, so it won't be so glaring, and that's an improvement over the last system. And at Volvo, what is this all leading to? It's all leading to zero accidents, and so we're going to continue down the road of safety until we find a way to make sure that there are zero accidents out there. So with that, I appreciate your time. I'm going to introduce John Barnes right now. He's going to make a couple comments on our dealer network. It's been a great journey for Volvo over the last 10 years, as well as our partners in the franchises continue to invest in our offerings. So thank you for your time.
So good morning. I just have a couple real quick comments. So, you know, tech equipment, we're the largest Mack and Volvo dealer in the country, and we're committed to partnering with everybody that we work with, whether that's Volvo or any one of you guys. We are currently at 26 locations. Within the next 12 months, we'll be up to 30. We're always buying new plots of land and just growing. When I started at Tech 12 years ago, we were right around 10 locations and somewhere close to 700 employees. Right now, as I said, we're 26 and over 1,300. And that just kind of shows Tech's growth is kind of outside of the norm, but I can say within the last 9 years, the Volvo dealer footprint, rooftop locations, we've seen 65 new locations go in. The service bays have grown by right around 2,100 new service bays. Technicians, we've doubled what we had previously. And master technicians, which are the guys who can do anything and everything, we have about 1,500 more of those. So we're, again, continuing to just try and be better partners to anyone we possibly can partner with. Of that growth over the last 9 years, you've seen a dealer development cost. So this is just the dealers have invested somewhere close to $620 million in the last 9 years. And then Volvo assists any of their dealers with new developments and property purchases and training for technicians. Their investment has been close to $450 million. So all in all, just the last 9 years, we're over $1 billion in development. We have new locations going in Central Oregon right now, Northern Washington, right in the Olympia area in Washington. We're looking in there. California, all over in California. We actually have Volvo's largest dealer in North America is in Fontana right now, and it looks more like a BMW dealer than it does a truck dealership. It's actually really, really nice. And we go, any customer we partner with, we always say we'll go as far down the rabbit hole as you guys want to go. We'll make you as self-sufficient as we possibly can, especially you guys, because we know we can't be available 24/7, but you guys have to be. So, you know, our locations aren't open that much, but you guys are. You're always open for business. So if there's anything we can ever do to help any one of you, just feel free to reach out and let us know. And for those of you who live in states that we're not there, I apologize. But no, a lot of the dealers have the same mentality as us. It's a partnership, and you guys are really the kind of partners we like. You're always in our area, and you're always willing to work with us. It's never just, hey, do this for me, and nothing on the backside. You guys are always, it's a give and a take. So with that, appreciate it. If there's any questions for me or Andy, I guess.
On the analytics and those graphs that you show, in your customers, who in their business organization is using that information?
And Bruce and I were in a meeting last week in Houston with a customer, and he was asking what was the format, and we can get you the format of it, but it's a very common protocol that we send you so you could process it if you had the right person on staff to manage it. But when we have large fleets like DOTs do and huge amount of value in it, you know, it's something that should be used and taken advantage of. And as well as it's customer data. So this is, you own that data. We don't own it. When you buy the truck from us, we house it for you. So we're figuring out ways to provide it for you where we didn't have a means to do it. So please, by all means, you know, let's figure out how to make them work more efficiently.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.